What's up there, YouTube? Another little quick thing for you. I have a service truck that I want to make the jumper cables quick connects for, and this is the quick connect setup. Comes with your metal terminals, comes with your plastic connections that go on the end of your cables. It's a kit off of Amazon, not a sponsor. They make these for different gauges. I believe this one was a 2/0 or up to a 2/0 or something like that, but they make like a smaller one. It's for like 6 gauge, 4 gauge, 2 gauge, or 2/0, 1/0, 3/0. And I want to say it's somewhere around the $20 range, $15 to $20 range. But basically what I'm doing is I've got a positive cable here that's, I don't know, about 4 feet long. And what I'm doing is I have a 2003 Chevrolet Silverado, and I'm running 1500 HD with the 60LS crew cab, 4-wheel drive. Anyways, I'm using a piece of battery cable, that I use to repair, and they're both of these cables are 1/0, and the other one is actually a short stinger wire for a welder. It's about, I don't know, 10 feet or whatever, but my leads are like 50 feet for my big welder, so I don't need this anymore. It was for an old little box welder, cheap ass welder. But anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim off the rubber insulation around the wire. I'm going to put these connectors on the wire, and then you push them into the back. This is the back of these connectors, right? And then you can screw them down to the bumper, the one that's going to be coming for the leads that are coming from the battery, that's going to be stationary on the truck at all times. And then you crimp those metal ends and snap them back into this. On the other end of your jumper cables, I have some 6 gauge jumper cables here that I bought a long time ago. Don't remember where I bought them at, whatever, don't remember the price, don't really care. I mean, you can pick them up for pretty much nothing anymore at the auto parts stores. What I suggest is, if you use jumper cables, if you have access to a 1/0 wire, that is probably going to be your best friend, because they can generally 1/0 takes up to 600 volts, can take up to 600 volts, and also the bigger the 0, the larger, bigger generally, machines or trucks or whatever, you can jump off vehicles. You're going to get more juice quicker, faster, to whatever you're trying to deliver power to, whatever charging system, battery system. So what I use for these is a battery terminal crimp that you put the battery terminal, or you put the end of the leads connectors into, and basically crimp them down. Generally works pretty well because I crimped the living bejeebus out of them, smashing them down on a hard concrete or steel surface. You can also use a hardened pointed punch that's of a hard steel. You can use the softer ones. It's just that generally it'll screw up your punch, and you'll have to grind the end of it off and make it sharp again. But your punches that are for punching holes and making marks for when you're drilling and stuff like that. But let me show you. This is it here. That's the crimper that I use. This one's I want to say I paid $50 for it. because the ones that are at your favorite cheapo tool stores, they will do the job for a little bit, but eventually they bend. The frame of them bends out and flares out. Doesn't leave as nice as a clean, sharp crimp as these ones do generally. But you can see that it's spring loaded in the back. You lift it up, right? And this is what's nice about these ones. You can lift it up and it's got a groove at the top for left or right, and you can lock it in place. That way you can be both hands on your cable and your terminals, putting them together and then putting them in there. Then you can spring that down and it'll hold your terminal in place, such as so, like this. Put your terminal in there, and there you go. Now it's holding your terminal. You can put your cable in there and put this on a hard surface and whack the living bejeebas out of it. You know, trying to watch my language because, you know, YouTube don't like cussing too much. But anyways, and I don't know if this is ever going to go anywhere, but if it does, cool. Anyways, I own my own business. I'm a mobile mechanic. I mostly do heavy equipment, I said before, and a lot of welding. I carry right now, the truck that I'm using, because I'm building another service truck right now. It's basically a pickup truck bed with 3 toolboxes in it, as you can see there. But anyways, I got a generator back there that runs this MIG welder here, and I can weld up to generally 1/2-inch steel with this welder. I might have to make 2 passes. Generally, when you make a multi-pass weld, that's a preferred weld on when you're welding something heavy, because it's going to hold better generally, as long as you're welding hot enough. So, you know, if you open your welders here, most of your MIG welders are this way. They have a door on the side. You open up that door and there's a diagram in there, and it tells you what to set your speed at and heat for certain thicknesses and gauges of mild steel, aluminum, and if you're doing TIG, that usually marks mild steel, aluminum, and I believe stainless in there. And then it also refers to using flux core. If you're using stick, if it's a multi-process welder like this one is, you can have. It also tells you what to do with stick, tells you what to do with a spool gun, and you're using aluminum, and also if you're using a TIG and you're using stainless, or you're doing, you know, whatever with TIG, stainless, aluminum, steel, because you can do anything with TIG pretty much, as long as you have the right gas and I'm drawing a blank. Gas and the right welding rods or wire that you use to weld with. Anyways, I am going to show you how I do this right quick. Put y'all down here. Get my pocket knife out. And what I do is I just cut around the cable, and I usually make about a 1 inch down the insulation to cut it, and then I cut a straight line across like that, you know, put it on a hard surface, not up in the air in my hand where I'm going to cut myself, and just make 1 or 2 slices into it, and it usually splits. This focuses like that, and then you just take it off, take your cable. A lot of people say don't do this to your cable, wrap it up like this. It doesn't matter. Then you stick your cable in here. You generally have to kind of hold it tight so you don't get any strands outside. If you get 1 or 2 strands out of it, that's okay. You can cut that off later. my good old 4-pound Cobalt here, which these are really nice. Nice handle on them. I like these hammers a lot. You can get them at Lowe's for under $20, and so far been really nice hammers. I mean, I have a nice 2.5-pound hammer, very nice. I like that one because it's just heavy enough, but yet but still light. This one's kind of heavy, but it's got a long handle. I like it because of that reason. All right, so if I can get this to show you what I'm trying to show you, and you may fall. Let's see, back here. There you go. So you see I got the terminal in there. I got the cable in place. I generally hold my finger over it. Just be careful. Make sure you're getting a good lined up hit with it. And then you just want to give it a whack. Make sure your cable's still staying there. It hasn't slipped out or anything. Hit it again. When you get that good solid hit and that sucker jumps up at you like it just did, you're generally bottomed out. You made a damn good crimp into it. And then, like I said, you get these little pieces of access. You can just trim those off, because when you go to put this inside the plastic holder, which I'll show you here in just a second, when you go to put this in that plastic connector, what I guess you would call it a harness connector or whatever, you know, it's going to snap in there, and it's going to be covered by that plastic on both sides because it has plastic between the two leads, so you don't get any contact between them. But generally this is going to go like this, with this tab facing up, or no, excuse me, I'm sorry, with a tab facing down on the end, because there's a little plate. See those little spring-loaded plates inside there? They capture that lip, and what it does is it keeps it from coming back out when you're plugging the two together. So when you're plugging these two together, it keeps them from pushing out. So, and they have on there plus sign, negative sign, so you know which one's ground and which one's positive. Plus is your positive, which is your red, and then negative is your ground, and that's your black wire. You know, so red positive, black ground. Now let me put this in here right. Alright, and then it's stuck. Now, let's say you put it in there, you put it in wrong. What you do is you push forward, take you a small screwdriver or a pick, and there's that metal plastic, or that metal spring-loaded tab in there. You push that down and you hold it kind of with your hand over it, and then pull the wire back out. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that hard of a process. It's pretty easy. And then on this truck, well, you're going to do it on your other trucks probably, most likely, or you can change out the terminal on your battery. If you have a top post battery that has the regular round post, you can make it where it's a stud. They sell them at the auto part stores, wherever, generally wherever batteries are sold, and it's a battery terminal that goes on top of your battery post, and it's got a stud. What I do is I put either a metal lock nut on them, or I put a nut with a lock washer on them. And what I do is the positive cable that's on your vehicle, as long as it's long enough, you cut it and put that on top of your threaded post that's on the new battery terminal. Generally, you do not want to make this a smaller eyelet to go on the side of the bolt that, or nut that goes on your existing factory terminal. The reason is because it's small. You would have to use a smaller terminal. You're reducing your size of your contact and everything, and it will cause you issues with contact issues with that. Also, a lot of times it'll cause your bolt to back out and cause your whole terminal to be loose. Then you got starting issues with your vehicle and all that crap. So it's just easier to cut the cables, modify them with eyelets if you want this quick connect setup on your vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and pause y'all and finish making this cable for this, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to run it through the front of the truck.